Hey everyone! So this week I wanted to do a watercolor piece since I feel like it's been a while since I've done any watercolor work. But I was also very inspired by Jenna and Julian's newest podcast. They just read through some Nosleep subreddit posts. But first on the art, so I am using, as you saw, the Canson watercolor paper. It really sucks. It does buckle a lot, but because I'm not good at watercolor, I don't want to invest in something expensive. And I am sketching straight onto that with just a regular cheap pencil. So the drawing is supposed to be some staircase in the woods. I don't know if that translated, and I also hate the whole thing, and I kind of want to rip it into pieces. In Jenna and Julian's podcast, they were reading a Reddit post on the subreddit Nosleep. So it is about a search and rescue officer, and he is just posting some creepy stories. Now, Nosleep, it's usually fiction. They try to play it off like it's real, but I don't believe it. But anyways, one of the last stories they read was about some staircases this man always sees in the forest when he's working. And I'm going to read a piece of it to you. This is the last one I'll tell, and it's probably the weirdest story I have. Now, I don't know if this is true in every search and rescue unit, but in mine, it's sort of an unspoken regular thing we run into. We can try asking it with other SRA officers, but even if they know what they're talking about, they probably won't say anything about it. We've been told not to talk about it to our superiors, and at this point, we've gotten so used to it that it doesn't seem weird anymore. On just about every case, when we're really far into the wilderness, I'm talking 30 or 40 miles, at some points we'll find a staircase in the middle of the woods. It's almost like if you took the staircase in your house, cut them out, and put them in the forest. I asked about it the first time I saw some, and the other officer just told me not to worry about it, and it was normal. Everyone I asked said the same thing. I wanted to go check them out, but I was told very emphatically that I should never go anywhere near them. I just sort of ignore them now when I run into them because it's happened so frequently. I thought this was one of the creepiest stories they read because it just leaves this mystery to it. And there's no reason for these staircases to be there, so I think that's why it's scary. Yeah, people get lost and there's creepy things in the woods at night, like dangerous animals, but there is no need for a staircase to be in the woods. I don't know, that's just what freaked me out. So that's what I tried to draw. As the story said, he said it looked like just cut the staircase out of your home, put it in the woods. So I took a picture of this staircase in my house, and I used that alongside just a general picture of the woods, put it in there. You're seeing a lot of cuts because I kept getting my big ass head in the way, so just like that. So you're going to see a lot of cuts, and then I will have watercolored some areas. Oh, the watercolors I'm using are the Shein art, like little tubes, and then I put it in a palette that I got on Amazon. I really like those. They're really like the only other watercolors I've used, aside from the crappy Artist Loft cake watercolors we all start with. Yeah, what I don't like about this art, I don't think it's as creepy as I wanted it to look. I tried to get it to look a bit scarier with the, blood splatters on the wall and the sign, but I don't know. I don't think it gives off that eerie vibe that the story gave me, and it's not what I envisioned in my head. And I think that's how I feel about most of my art recently, is that if it's not what I perfectly envision in my head, then I get discouraged, which obviously it's difficult to do such a thing, to exactly translate what you are thinking about onto a piece of paper, unless you're obviously skilled and renowned artist, which I clearly am not. So I think going forward, I'm going to try to thumbnail work like this more. Just in my sketchbook, or whenever I get an iPad, I can try and do these mock-ups digitally, just so I feel like I'm not wasting supplies, which in its own is a stupid mindset, but that's for another video. And I also think I just need to practice more with watercolors. I love the look of them, and I wish I could create some of the things that I see other people creating with watercolors. Now I know I'm using a cheaper brand and cheaper paper because, again, I'm not that experienced, but I know many artists that can create beautiful, intricate works with cheaper watercolor supplies. And I think expressionist work with watercolor comes pretty easily. But trying to get details, I think, is where I suffer. I know I'm pretty impatient because I don't like waiting for layers to dry. I'm used to working with colored pencil or marker or acrylic, where you don't really have to wait for anything. Acrylic dries so quickly that there's nearly no waiting time. So patience is one thing I want to work on, and also just not beating myself up and comparing myself to other artists, which I know is nearly impossible. And I think some level of comparison and emulating what artists you like doing is necessary for growth, but I think it's not always a positive mindset that I'm going into it. I'm not looking at other people's work like, well, this is what I want to use on mine. I'm looking at their work and thinking like, wow, my art sucks and I'm horrible and I'm going to sell all my supplies and never open a sketchbook again. Again, I'm sorry my big ass head is in the way so you can't really see much of what I'm doing, but hopefully in future videos I think I'll be a bit more conscious about filming. I also want to try and go into videos that are more fun to create. I've seen people do kind of art challenges, and I kind of have this mindset where I'm not a good artist, so I don't have this privilege of having fun with my art. I feel like I should still be just learning and practicing anatomy and architectural things day in and day out before I'm allowed to have fun with art. And I think that's just a stupid rule that I've set for myself that nobody has told me I have to do. So I think I'm going to try and have more fun with this art channel and try to do some challenges, like, I don't know, I've seen Chloe Rose do painting with every acrylic paint I own. Things like that where I can just enjoy myself instead of just getting frustrated and then at the end not making anything because I'm too afraid of messing it up. But anyways, yeah, I think that's enough rambling for one video. I hope you guys enjoy the monstrosity that I created, and I hope you enjoy any future videos that I'm planning on posting on this channel. Also, you should check out Jen and Julian's podcast. I think it's really fun, and they kind of just joke around, and sometimes they talk about serious things, but it's nice to, I don't know, they keep me company on my long commute to work. And I think it's just another example of how you can really find inspiration for your art or whatever you do creatively, kind of anywhere in the world. I will see something on the highway that I want to draw, or I'll be listening to a podcast and that inspires another piece that I want to make. So yeah, I think that's all that I have to say for this voiceover. If you hear noises in the background, my dog is snoring very loudly. But I think that's it, really. Let me know what videos you want to see in the comments. Let me know if you share any similar frustrations that I've rambled on about in this video, or really just where you get your inspiration from, because I feel like sometimes that's what I'm lacking, is inspiration and motivation to kind of not give up on art just because I'm not good at it from the get-go. Yeah, thanks guys, and I'll see you hopefully next week for another video. Bye! bye.